We're going to hit record. Yay! Recording is in progress. So, because I know my girl Arba needs every minute of this session, I'm going to turn it over to you. But before I do, if you have questions just on some housekeeping things, put it in the chat. Any questions? I will try to keep monitoring that for you, and answering any of your questions. If you As we said, it is being recorded, so you'll have the opportunity for this to be seen at a later time and date as well. So on that note, I'm going to turn it to Arba Cooper, who's going to tell you a little bit about herself and get us into the workshop for today.
All right. Well, thank you, Sandra. Now let me share my screen and make sure I'm getting the right screen that I'm sharing here. That's always the the thing. What screen should be sharing? Nope. What screen am I sharing now? Can
We
you see
see,
the
I see,
slide?
I do,
It's
I
always
do.
interesting. And you see that one? You see the slide advancing?
Housekeeping, yeah.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay, cool. Because sometimes, I'm used to doing webinars instead of meetings. And so that's why I like to, I have to situate everything a little differently. Hold on, I'm gonna situate a few things here. Okay, cool. All right, welcome. Prepare for your first website. Little bit of housekeeping. Sandra went over some of it. We are in a meeting format instead of webinar format. So there's going to be a lot of opportunities for interaction. I love interaction. I'm used to doing face-to-face workshops. However, I'm going to keep everyone muted until the end. So please write down your questions, or you can put them in the chat if it's something like very urgent. But I promise you, I have over 60 slides. So I'm going to probably get to every question that you have and then some. And it's optional to turn on your video. Since we are in a meeting format, you can turn on your video. Some of the interaction questions I'm going to ask, they may be like, yeah, raise your hand if you've ever done this. So, it'll be easier to have your video on, or you can just put yes in the chat. When you're chatting, please make sure that you are chatting to everyone, not just me or whoever, someone specific. So I think that, let's see, with that said, I want to also keep my eye on, I got to keep another thing open here. There's someone in the excuse me, in the waiting room. So yeah, I admitted them, but Sandra, if you can keep an eye on the people in the waiting room, that would be great. So I just admitted them. All right. So moving right along. How many of you, and you can just put it in the chat or you can raise your hand, have ever heard me speak before, either webinar or personal, anything like that, so that you won't have the shock effect. Because some of you have never heard me speak before. You're like, that woman is crazy. But I'm crazy because I have over 30 years experience in sales and marketing. In 1996, I started my own home-based printing and desktop publishing business while working full-time and raising a young family. I've been a web designer since 1999. I self-taught myself that. And I've built hundreds of websites for entrepreneurs, professionals, businesses, and organizations. In 2003, I published a successful monthly wedding magazine for Atlanta, the small businesses, for 6 years. I learned a lot with that. That was my only source of income. That's when I totally left my full-time job. Some of you may know me from SCORE. I'm a certified mentor, workshop presenter. And in 2017, we had a business radio show. And I was one of the hosts on 96.5. Currently, I'm a creative web designer, freelance, and also a social media strategist. And I am a Constant Contact certified solutions partner. And as you can already see, I am passionate about helping people improve themselves professionally, personally, and financially. All right. So I have introduced myself. Now I want you all to introduce yourself. My first question, do you have a website? Just type yes or no in the chat, because it looks like not everybody, and it'd probably be easy for me to monitor the chat than to try to look at the screen. So let me know. Okay, Rose says no. Do you have a website? Yes or no? No, 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 no. So far, you're all in the right place. If you're saying no. Okay, great. And I will warn you, for anyone who may be trying to multitask while you're doing this training, it's going to be difficult because I'm going to keep you going. I like to keep you interactive. Okay. Well, you know what? We can skip this question. Well, no. I know how I want to ask this question. So I know you all say you don't have a website, but let me know, are you planning to sell online? Let me know, yes or no, if you're planning to sell online. Okay. Oh, yes. Yes. And okay, a couple of yeses on selling online. All right. And next, what type of business? So I don't want to know your business name because Arba LLC doesn't tell me anything. Tell me, what type of business? Is it consulting? Are you making some handicraft products? What are you doing? What type of business is it? This is also a good way to do a little networking too. So what type of business do you have? And I know there's someone who's joining us from the phone, so I'm sorry you're not able to answer, but I'll tell you some of the answers. So Rose, life coaching. Robin, make things for women. We're going to help you to get a little more specific. Women need a lot of things. And Nancy, undecided. Okay. And the final question, how long have you been in business? With this, you can just put in A, B, C, D, or E. So the question is, how long have you been in business? A, not started. B, less than a year. C, 1 to 2 years. D, 2 to 5 years. And E, 5+ years. So we have a couple of A's, Rose, Nancy, not started. Sandra, 1 to 2 years. And also Sandra is trying to help the church with their website. And E, oh, Robin, 5+ years. This is quite a variance, which is good. This will be a good webinar for you. Okay, the agenda. Today, we are going to learn all the steps needed to create a website. And by the end of this training, you will determine if you want to do it yourself, pay a web designer, or a company to build one for you. We're going to go over marketing basics, internet basics, web design elements, content creation, website components, website cost, and e-commerce basics. So you're in the right place if you don't have a website and you have no idea what's needed. Okay, now what I want you to do is, as I put up these excuses for not having a website, if you resonate with one of these excuses, you can put it in the chat. There's going to be numbers on them, and you could just type that in the chat. Some of you may be more than one of these excuses. So, but somebody, you got to have, if you don't have a website, you got to have an excuse for not having one. You ready? Okay. Don't need one? Well, I would think if you don't need one, you probably wouldn't be here. Cost too much? Too complicated? Lack the knowledge? You're not creative? Too busy or no time? Or you have one under construction? Now, what's interesting is I'm seeing some numbers in the chat, but the numbers are 1, but I haven't put up the number 1 yet. But The number one answer, you guys might be psychic. Not prepared. That's the number one answer. Not prepared. I think some of you may have been in one of my other trainings, but that's okay. Okay, it is there. All right. Okay, marketing basics. You must have a written business plan. Now, when I say a written business plan, now it's not necessary. You don't have to have 20, 30-page business plan. That's like the old school way. There's actually a one-page business plan that helps flush out this information, because it's very important to know, why are you in business? Have you identified your ideal customer? How are you different from your competition? And why do you want a website? That's what your business plan will help you to flush out. And your marketing plan, which should be a large portion of your business plan, you want to know, what are you trying to achieve? Because not everybody's trying to achieve the same things, or it could be a combination. Are you strictly trying to just sell your products and services? Are you trying to provide information to the community? Create awareness for a certain what is it? Lost my train of thought. But create awareness, like some of you may have different I forget the word. But to create awareness for something, grow your image or brand, generate leads, stimulate trial offers, gain support or donations. Create awareness. I was trying to think if you have a certain fun, you all help me out there. Some word I'm trying to think of when somebody has a certain thing that they believe in. And I can't think of the word of whatever I'm trying to say. I'll keep it moving on. Okay, so the purpose of a website from an owner's perspective, an owner is thinking, I want to build my brand, increase sales by gathering leads, make it easy for customers to find me, provide information to help customers learn about your products or services, provide online customer service assistance, such as your contact information, email address, phone numbers, sell your products by adding e-commerce, or reach national or global consumers. So with the little guy in the picture there, everybody's thinking from a owner's perspective, oh, websites all about me. Come to me, buy my products, get my services, support my cause. That's the word I was trying to think of. You want to do something to support a cause. So lots of times people think that's the purpose of a website, but no. The purpose of a website from a customer's perspective is, first, they want to be able to find, they're looking on the internet to find something that they're interested in. So first, the purpose, your website needs to be able to be found. And then when they arrive on your website, it should validate their expectations. So that means the information needs to be relevant to what they're looking for. So if they're looking for, if someone's looking for, I know someone said something about they're making stuff for women, but if I'm looking for something for men, then you certainly want to, when you get on that website, you want to see that there's stuff for women. I'm sorry, if you're looking for stuff for men, but you go to this website and you see there's stuff for men, then that's not the site that you want to be on. So you want to build that trust. Next is educate. Your website should teach people how to recognize and better understand their wants and needs. So take, for instance, my websites. When people come to my website, I try to educate them. Why do you need a website? Why do you need a business plan? Why do you need a marketing plan? So you've got why should you do social media advertising? All of these different things, I try to educate people before I just start trying to sell my products or services. Next is you want to inform. So after a person trusts that you have the answer to what they want or need, then you can begin to inform them about your products and services. And then nurture. often people need to come back to your website numerous times. They're not going to just make that purchase right away. I mean, the only time they may make that purchase right away is, I know one time we had emergency problem, like with our sewer, and we needed a roto-rooter quick. So it didn't take me much to go to a website, find a roto-rooter. I tried to use a local plumber, but they weren't quick enough. You know, you go to the website, you find somebody, you call them up, get them out there. Other, other than an emergency situation, you're going to need to nurture people. You're going to try to get them to come back to your website numerous times. The best way to do that is get their email address and then continue to provide valuable content that's relevant to whatever stage they are in their customer journey, and then nurture them through that sale. Dance with them a little bit. And then finally, convert. And a conversion can be many things, from subscribing to your newsletter, calling you, and then making a purchase on your website. Conversion opportunities need to be an element of the design of your homepage to help guide the journey. And I'm going to go into detail about all of this, and we're going to come back to this whole progression chart later when I show you the elements that go into the website. Okay, marketing sales cycle. It starts with know. First, people have to know about your business, and that can be through advertising, doing an online search. But if they do an online search and they can't even find your website, then that's probably why you're all here today. Can be through events or referrals. Then they can like you on social media, or they can like your website by joining your mailing list. They'll look at your photos, also any online reviews. So they start to kind of like you. Then trust is through testimonials, your marketing info, videos, blogs. The more they can get to know you through those ways, they can trust you. So that's the top half, where they're still a prospect. So at that point, you're still trying to convert them into a customer. So the way you start to convert them into a customer is you give them a free or a trial offer, a promotion, have them come to an event, or join your mailing list. Then after try, hopefully you'll get them to buy. But buying is still it's a very important part of the process. That's not the end. When you get someone to buy, that's not it, because they're looking at that whole the whole buying process. How was the payment easy to do? Did they get a receipt? How did you fulfill that purchase and the delivery? So all of that they're looking at. Then if they're happy with that, you'll get a repeat, where you can get you can find out some improvements by doing a survey, or they'll subscribe. Maybe they'll get an upgrade, membership, loyalty cards, emails. All of this is because I know you may have heard, or if you haven't heard, for any of you that are new in business, it is so much easier to keep an existing customer. It costs less to keep an existing customer than it does to constantly try to get new customers. And then finally, when you get that happy customer, they're going to refer. They're going to write reviews, give you testimonials. You can reward them, and they may even give you access to their contact list. That's the marketing sales cycle. And we'll come back to this again when it comes to your website. Okay, now let's shift gears to internet basics. Your business must have an online presence to reach consumers. Online is the thing, especially since the pandemic. It is crucial that a lot of businesses that did not have an online presence did not survive during the pandemic, because people are constantly searching online for products and services. They're researching products or services online, comparing prices, or reading online reviews. making decisions from research and online reviews, and they use their phone to find nearby businesses. And some people even visit a store because of an online referral. Now, let me get you all involved again. How many of you type yes if you have a Facebook page? Let me know if you have a Facebook page. It's my way to see if you're still out there. Dan, yes. Sandra, yes. The rest of you still out there? Okay, so a couple of you have your Facebook page. A Facebook page is not a website. A Facebook page is intended to support your marketing. And the reason it is not a website is because it has a very restricted layout, limited number of pages. It's not unique to your brand or image, and it's competitive. That Facebook actually puts ads on other Facebook pages or when people go to Facebook. You're unable to actually capture any email addresses to be used for marketing, and you're unable to gather any kind of detailed analytics. Looks like Robin must have dropped out, added her back in there. You're unable to gather detailed analytics, and you're not able to really get any good data like you could get with a website. And your business is just not as legitimate if you don't have a website and all you have is a Facebook. Okay. Now, how do customers actually find you? What they do is they put in a search term in the, hold on a second, I'm just gonna. So they put in a search term in the browser. And then the based on the search term, the website is found if the exact web address is provided, or it pulls up websites that match the search term. And all of these websites are hosted on servers all over the world. And if it's just a Facebook page, then it's hosted on Facebook's server. Okay, here's an example of a search engine results page. Now, my name, which I thought and still do think is unique, I was like, oh, for sure. When I first started with this, and this is like an old slide, I searched for my name, Arba. And I was surprised there was 72 million, over 72 million results for Arba. I was like, oh, I guess I'm not so unique. However, that's when I found out that ARBA stands for American Rabbit Breeders Association. So they have existed much longer than I have. And so if someone was searching, I tell you that to tell you about specific keywords and how it's relevant, especially when you're creating your site. So if someone was just searching for me, Arba, and they put that in as a search term, they're going to come up with all of these other sites and not find me. However, if you get a little more specific and search for Arba Cooper, then that narrows it down to 508,000 results. But fortunately, this is how I've learned through search engine optimization. My sites come up at the top of the list. I think, yeah, I forgot that you guys can see my cursor if I do that. So now you'll see that my sites actually come up at the top, and then my affiliation with SCORE, and then, Facebook is in there. So that's how people search. If someone wanted red shoes, then if you just put in red shoes, that's not specific enough. But if you put in, red women's high heel shoes or red bottom, shoes, the more specific you get, the more narrow the search results will be. And that's why you want your content on your website to be specific. So now, unless somebody actually knows me, they're not going to search for me. They're going to search for something like small business workshop. And usually they'll look for it in the area that they're in. Although Google is smart enough now that you don't need to put the area in, it knows by your location, especially if you're using your smartphone. It'll find you by location. So, how this SEO or search engine optimization is a whole training class in itself. So I'm just going to give you a few of the things that can help to increase your website ranking. And this is not in any specific order. So a long-term and active website, that's why the sooner you can get your website up, the better. ARBA, American Rabbit Breeders Association, obviously must have had their site much longer than I have been alive. And but that's the only one thing that you cannot change, is how long a website's been up. But all of this other stuff, you can work with that, and you can help to move your site up in the rank. And again, I'm not going to go through all of this. You will have access to my slides through the recording, and I'll tell you later how you can get that. Okay. All right, now we're moving on to web design elements. There are over 12 high-level elements that are needed on every website. And I'm going to go into detail about each of those website elements. Okay, let's start out with the basic layout. Even for your very first website, you should have at least four pages: your home page, about us page, products or services, and a contact. At least that. You want to have a simple navigation to those important pages. So therefore, your home page is most critical, and that's going to guide you to, or not guide you, guide your visitors to the other pages on your site. Choose a design that fits your content. Don't let the look of a template determine your design. I have been designing websites for over 20 years, and I work with a range of clients. However, what's interesting is all of my newbies, they all show me on someone else's website, or they show me a template, and they're like, "Oh, I want my site to look like that. I love this site." And they show you a site of a company that's been in business for years. So they've got a lot of content, they've got a lot of photos and pages. And it just doesn't make sense, because what makes that site look so phenomenally great is because of all the content. So you have to start where you're at. And so you want to, don't choose a design totally based on all of it that's got it's going on, because you can't, if you don't have the content to fit it. And then also, don't get stuck on the layout. The beauty of a website is it's not like any kind of printed material, where it used to be, like I said, I've been designing sites for years, and I started my business doing desktop design, actually creating brochures, postcards, catalogs. So if you did something for print and you printed 1,000 of them, well, actually, let me go back to my actual publication, Atlanta Wedding Ideas. We published 10,000 little digest size magazines every month. So if I messed up something in that publication, 10,000 of them are out there in the public. It's different for a website. You can change your website on the fly. So don't get stuck on the layout. Just start with something simple and then change it as needed, because you don't have to worry. It's not like print. I strongly believe, do not use coming soon or under construction pages. I absolutely hate those, because if somebody comes to your website and they click on something and it says coming soon or under construction, that's telling them you don't have your stuff together. That's telling them that, how long are they going to be coming soon? And then if you forget that you put that out there, and it could be, 3 months later, and they come back there and you're still coming soon or under construction, they're probably not gonna come back. So it's best not to even do that. One of the resources that I have is a website worksheet that will help flush out this information. And I also have a website layout guide, and I'll tell you at the end how you can get access to that. Okay, brand identity. How do you stand out from the competition? First, your business name. I believe that your business name should indicate to someone, what kind of business is this? My business name, well, my actual LLC business, I have several businesses at this point because I really realized the importance of a good business name. My vanity years ago had me that my LLC is My Arba LLC. That tells nobody nothing until I become famous enough that Arba can stand by itself. But now I've learned I need to have businesses that tell people what it is. DIY marketing. I don't have to explain that. Do it yourself marketing. That's what I'm all about. My business in Atlanta was called Atlanta Wedding Ideas. Do I need to say more? So choose a business name that will help to already give you that identity. When you're creating your logo, don't create this huge logo, because remember, you're going to have to use that logo on your website, on your business cards, social media, where they just want those little profile photos. It does not have to be an image. If you just take this little hand and keyboard off of my logo, it's just text. It's just font. I choose to put the DIY in big font and the marketing small. It could be something like that, using any kind of header text. A lot of these examples over here, they're just showing the different company name in different font, and just put some little icon or something. Don't get too caught up. If you're just starting your business, don't get too caught up in a logo, because nobody's going to recognize your business just by your logo. Not until you become the level of Nike, and any of us can, but a lot goes into trying to be recognized just by your logo. There's logo creation software. Canva is one that I recommend. It's free, it's easy to use, and you can do a lot with that. Or you can search for logo designers. I really, again, do not recommend paying for a logo at the early stages of your business. Brand, when it comes to your website, beyond the logo, you want your website to match your color scheme. So be careful about the choice of your logo. If you have too many colors in your logo, then your website, the option for your website, I would say, needs to be toned down. Your website would then need to be like a grayscale kind of website, because you don't want your website having a bunch of colors. Use complementary fonts that complement your logo. Think about your social media links as a part of your brand, and your About Us page is part of your brand. And try to use your own photos as much as you can instead of stock. And I'm going to talk about stock a little bit later. Stock are all of these little fake images, of these beautiful, gorgeous models that, look nice, but they're not really representative of your business. Next, your website needs to clearly be a solution to a want or need. Actually, let's step back. Your business should be a solution to a want or need. Who are you targeting, and what do they want or need? You don't have to solve world problems. As we know right now, everybody's looking for a new vaccine. You don't have to have that kind of solution. It could be something, and again, a want or a need. I don't need eyelashes that are as big as butterflies, but that might be something I want. So when someone comes to your site, you have to create that desire. You have to create them to want it. When you come to one of my websites, I clearly say, if your website is coming soon, you're missing business now. That's I want people to get that in their head, that they're missing business if they're still got a website coming soon. And then I go into how can you contact me and who's my target market. I'll say right there, I'm targeting entrepreneurs, professionals, home-based businesses, startups, small business ministries and organizations. So I want to be very clear right there on that homepage. This is who I'm targeting. I'm not targeting the big Fortune 500 company. Products and services on your website, emphasize customer benefits instead of your features. So examples here is website design. And you kind of want to put in the context of if you were talking to someone, learn web design basics to build a website for your business. Digital marketing, get the tools you need to succeed online with an all-in-one platform. So you see, you're talking to your website needs to be speaking to, answering the wants or needs of the visitors. Trust elements. Here's an A to Z list, or A to V, A to V list of things you can put on your website to help gain the trust of those visitors. What's going to keep them on your site? They're gonna, watch a testimonial video, look at your certifications, all of these different things to help them trust you. Call to action. Very, very important. You've got them on your website. What do you want them to do? Not just look at your website. Oh, this is nice. This is cute. No, you want them to do something, but you got to tell them. And it doesn't, this is what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be buy. It can just be, book an appointment. The second one, again, I like to do alphabetical. It's easier to see. Donate to your cause. Download a brochure. If someone downloads a brochure or downloads anything, that means they're interested. That gives you an opportunity to follow up with them. Watch a video. So it doesn't have to be buy, but get them to do something to keep them engaged. Offer something. Have a free trial, a starter offer. Offering something makes it easy for them to switch from a prospect to a customer. We've all seen it. These things that I'm telling you or sharing with you, it's not rocket science. It's the fundamentals of good web design, good marketing, period. Contact information. Make it easy for customers to communicate with you on their terms, not your terms. I've had some of my clients, they're like, don't put my phone number on my website. I'm like, what do you mean? So you think that everybody's going to want to email you, or that's just not it. And I will tell you personally, I have had a website, my own website, for over 20 years. And I had my publication that I had, like I said, 10,000 copies a month. I always have my phone number on it. Do you know, I don't get a bunch of phone calls. I wish I did. Every small business wish they did. Everybody wants to believe, don't put my phone number out there. I can't handle all the calls. Give them to me, because you don't get them like that. It's not that easy. The calls that I get are solicitations, but I think we all get that regardless. So put your phone number on there. At least if there is someone that wants to call you, they can call you. Have them every kind of way that they can reach you. Phone, email, contact form. If you have a business address, you want to make sure that it's on Google Maps. And then you want to have a separate contact page with more details, and I'll show you that. So make sure your contact information is in the header, footer, sidebar, wherever it is, wherever you need it, and don't worry about getting bombarded with business. Contact form. provide a reason for someone to submit the form. Don't just have a form on there and say submit my form. No, like I have on my contact form, Arba Cooper is available as a speaker and business trainer. I have experience with churches, business events, workshops, and youth functions. I am very energetic, entertaining, engaging, and educational. Please submit the form below to contact me. So therefore, if someone wasn't, I'm providing, again, I'm nurturing that visitor, because I'm giving them some information they may not have known about, and now they may, contact me. So let's see, a request to be contacted, your contact form. And this is a simple contact form. This is the very simple it can be. I have some contact forms that I ask a lot of information, and you would be surprised that as much information as you ask, if someone is serious about engaging in business with you, they will answer all of those questions. But you also want to have a simple form for someone who's at the earlier stages of business. But just make sure it's something specific. Don't just say, give me your email information. Offer them something, for something. Join my mailing list and get my brochure. Like I'm going to show you, you join my mailing list, you'll get the recording of this training and all the other materials. And you can have multiple contact forms. You can have a contact form on each page if it makes sense to ask them something different on those pages. Looking at my notes, there were some other things I had wrote notes that probably going over it. I've done this so many times. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Good visuals. Visuals, we are visual people. You want to capture attention. As you see on my slides, I am very particular. All of my slides have some kind of visual on them because, a picture's worth 1,000 words. People are going to remember a picture more than a bunch of words. So you want to have good visuals. And this little illustration here, it's showing that the average attention span today is probably less than this. The average attention span is 9 seconds. And I'm sorry, the average attention span of a human in 2013, when they did this, was 8 seconds. So you've got 8 seconds to capture their attention. And they're saying a goldfish has more attention than a human. And you can test that by tapping, you tap, 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 tap on the window of a goldfish. You see how long it's going to look at you before it swims away. So you don't have much time to get people's attention and keep their attention. So here's some of the things you want to do. You want to balance out your header titles, have bullet points, use professional or stock. Again, professional, you can do some really nice photos yourself with your smartphone, but you want them to look professional. In some cases, like if you have an abstract type of business where maybe you're selling insurance, well, you can't really take a picture of insurance, but you can use a stock photo that's showing a customer and a couple, maybe, signing some contract, or you can show a car wreck. Do you need auto insurance? So just get creative. Reduce your images so that it doesn't take a long time to load on your website. Don't put these, just because it's like the most beautiful landscape you've ever seen. If you put it on your website because you think that that's going to capture attention, it's not. Because if it takes more than 8 seconds for that to load, you lost them. Videos are great. People love videos. Just try to make sure you're not, with YouTube, it has a tendency to show like the next video at the end. And that could be a little negative. Flash, probably don't even need to talk about that anymore. That's old technology. And it's not compatible anymore with a lot of the browsers or smartphones. And make sure that your site looks good on mobile devices. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. what was I gonna say? Which is another reason why I was saying don't get caught up in the design, because you may be looking at your website on how it looks on this huge widescreen monitor, but most people are using what? Their little smartphone. And that's what's most important. Images. Okay, some of this I've already said. Photos can be taken with smartphones and tablets. Use good lighting. Learn how to resize, rotate, crop excess background. Again, I'm recommending Canva, canva.com. It's a free software. And have at least one image per page. You have to have something to break up the content. Use a mixture of banners. Banners are the big images that go across the top. Sliders are the ones that they call them sliders or carousels, have more than one picture that again keeps people's attention. Galleries can have a series of pictures. But again, all of this only makes sense if you have the type of business that you're using your own photos. If you have some type of consulting business, don't just put a bunch of stock photos on there just because you see that I said you should have sliders and galleries. That's only if you have product. Try to put as much product, on your page. Again, use stock images sparingly. Consider paying for professional photos, especially if that's your product. And do not use those huge banners. I've seen some websites, and they talk about above the fold. Above the fold means the top half of your monitor. Don't use some huge banner if it has nothing to do with your business, so that they got to scroll down to get to the meat of your information. Organize your photos in folders and use relevant file names. The file name of the photo on your website can help with your SEO. If you have an actual photo that is a representation of your product, a women's flowery summer dress, then use that as the file name. That will not only help you with SEO, but that will help you when you're looking for your photos in your gallery on your website. Please don't have your photos just be ABC 123. Next, sorry, I'm gonna have to close my door. My family just got home. Gotta love these home offices. Okay, social media. I gotta get you guys engaged again. Make sure you're awake. Okay, I'd like you to put into the chat, what do you think is the, I'm describing social networking. What social media platform am I talking about where you can interact with millions of potential customers, identify their interests, build relationships and referrals? FB. So Nancy says FB, which means Facebook, and Nancy is correct. Okay, next, this social media platform is great for building a following to quickly share information, gather market intelligence and insights, build relationships with people that care about your company. Another hint is microblogging. So this is something you can put out little text quickly, and you can build. Yes, Nancy gets it again. Twitter. Okay, business networking. Target your audience by age, gender, seniority, geography, job function. Nancy is on the ball. LinkedIn. Yes. Okay, next one. This is a business finder. Customers can easily locate you. Stand out by engaging customers with photos, offers, public announcements. Customers can Google. Nancy is a shoo-in for me. Love you. Next one, everybody should get this one. Online video community. promote your content to millions of viewers, share promotional videos. Yes, YouTube. And finally, blogging. This was the original blogger. Oh, Dan, don't be hating. Dan says Nancy types fast. So blogging, this was the original platform that was for blogging, where people became subject. And with blogging, you can become a subject matter expert with consistent communication, obtain feedback on products and services. This is what blogging can help you to do. A hint, this platform originally started just as a blogging platform. Are you aware that I do? I have the sheet up. Where do I have the sheet? WordPress blogging. Is that so? Oh, Nancy says I have the sheet up that identifies all of these. Am I sharing the right screen? This is making me think now. Uh-oh, am I sharing the right screen? I am sharing the screen. Am I sharing the right screen here? I've got to be. Okay, I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, PowerPoint. Okay, so you can see my Sandra, come off the mute for a second. I just want to make sure I'm sharing the right screen. Sandra. I'm not going to worry about it, I guess. I'm sharing the screen that's showing my PowerPoint slide, right? Or the active PowerPoint slide, not my presentation mode. Okay, I'm going to go on.
You're sharing your PowerPoint.
The full screen version, or am I sharing my I'm sharing the full screen version, right? Or no?
You're not in full screen where it says current slide. Okay, it's
I'm sharing the wrong screen all this time. Is that why you guys can see my answers? That is not fair.
You know, we're typical students. We're like, yeah, let her show it, and we look like we're smart because we can see it.
Okay,
but if you
stop. I was wondering that from the beginning. I was like, okay, let me make sure which screen. Okay, I'm going to share my screen again. That is hilarious. Okay, now you just see the full screen version, right?
Right.
Oh, and this is being recorded. Lord have mercy. Okay. So moving on. We're going to talk about responsive web design. And I am technical at, right? That's the funny thing. Let me go back to, I want to see my, okay. So more than half of all web traffic comes from smartphones and tablets. I said that earlier. Websites should, the problem is, I'm sorry, I just went off screen. I have 3 monitors. That's why I didn't know which monitor I was sharing, because I have 3 monitors going here. And I do that because of responsiveness. So anyway, websites should detect the type of device used for viewing and automatically shift the content to give the optimal user experience. So again, that's where I was saying, if you have a widescreen monitor or a tablet, you could look at it horizontal or vertical. So that's why I say don't worry so much about the layout, because something that is someone's looking at this widescreen monitor, they may be wanting this perfect look, but when you go down to a smartphone, they're just looking at it on a much smaller scale. So, okay, good. Now I get to do one where you don't see the answer. Okay, so type in the chat. What do you think is the most important information on a local business website? What do you think is most important? Now I'm going to see how smart you are, since you can't see my slide. uh, contact, address. Okay, Nancy's showing that she does know these answers. Contact, address, phone, product and services. All right, I got a couple of answers. This is the answer. When people go to your website, it is very important. They clearly want to know what are your products or, or services. Price list. Price list is questionable. Price list, if you're a restaurant, for sure. A restaurant, or if you're doing totally online e-commerce site, online products. But yes, they clearly they want to know this information up front. Okay. So identify your ideal customer. You have to know you can't have a solution for everyone. You need to know what want or need are you solving and for who. That goes for your business in general, not just your website, but your whole marketing. What want or need are you solving and for who? And why is your business the best choice for your ideal customer? Okay, so it's a little way to remember this. A great business idea creates a solution to a want or need for a specific group of people that are willing to pay for what it's worth. Okay. Dog walking. It's not like you can't walk your own dog, but there are people that the solution is you'll walk the dog for a specific group of people if they're willing to pay for it. Okay. Now, here's that continuum I showed before, this progression, and how you're going to answer that with your website. And I'll use my my own example. So get found. I'll get found by my target audience by using SEO principles, doing these webinars, workshops, events, all kinds of ways, hand out business cards. That's how I'll get found. I'll build trust and engage website visitors. I have video testimonials on there, written testimonials. So those are how I'm going to build. Oh, I have personal pictures on there, ones where I've done events. I'll educate visitors. My whole website is about educating. I've got so much information, constantly letting people know how long I've been in this business and how I believe that every small business entrepreneur needs to have a website. I'll inform visitors how my products and services can solve their wants and needs. I send emails, I do these webinars, all types of ways I inform. I have a few blogs on there. Whenever I find some good information, I'll put it on my site. I'll nurture my prospects. Some of you, again, you've heard me speak before, so you're on my mailing list and you're back again. I'll send emails. I'm not the type, I don't do as much of the email automation, but I'm getting into that because I realize that does work. And then I'll convert my prospects to customers by, finally saying, are you ready to start your website? How can I help you? I create so many different fill in the blank forms to just make the whole website process easy. All right. Now, this is the heart of website creation, is content. You want to start from your marketing plan. That's why you need to have one. Keep it simple. Clarity beats persuasion. When you look at some of these other sites out there by big businesses, and they've got all of this, fancy wording and all of that, trust me, because my full-time job, I work for an advertising company, a digital marketing company. We have a whole copywriting team, multiple people on it, people that have a literary degrees, the liberal arts degrees or whatever. So they write all of that content. As a small business, we don't do that. Use popular keywords, and popular keywords, as I was saying, that helps with your SEO. So you have to understand, and that's a whole nother class, what words are popular that you should use on your website. Try to have at least 300 words per page. It's not really a lot. You can use Microsoft Word that has a word count to help you to get enough words on the page. 50 words per paragraph. Again, not much. If you want to write blogs, you should have a lot more written in your blogs. And again, that helps with SEO. Now, a lot of times people are like, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say about my business. I'm sure if I unmuted any of you and I asked you, I said, tell me about your business, you could go on and on and on and explain your business. Do that. Record yourself. Record yourself as if you're talking to a friend, because that's the kind of tone that your website should have, that you are talking to a friend or you're talking to someone at a networking event. Record yourself. And then you can transcribe that. Again, a Word has a dictation element to it. Use words, images, videos, buttons, all kinds of things to engage your customer. Don't just have a page full of text. Try to do as much as you can to keep them on that page. And I have a document called How to Create Effective Web Content. Update your content. Updating your content is important for SEO because that lets the search engines know, oh, there's some new content out there. Let me crawl that site again. It also confirms you're still in business by having some fresh content on there. Gives people a reason to come back. You can highlight a new product or service or something that you read or you found. If you're going to do a blog, then it's best to create a schedule for yourself. Tell yourself, I'm going to do a blog every week, every month, every other month, but create some kind of schedule to make yourself stick to it. And as I said before, please do not use coming soon or under construction. And if any of you are familiar with SCORE, then SCORE is excellent for content. That's why they're high in the search engines. Finally, when it comes to the web design elements, it's not about you. Don't create your website only from your perspective. You know everything about your business. You're trying to get other people to understand your business. So, and also don't add features you don't need or you won't update. Just because someone says you should have a blog on your site or you should have blah, blah, blah. If you're not going to update it, then don't put it on there. And I have another slide. I'm going to go through all of these different features. When you're looking for web design companies, they're going to tell you it has all of this, and that. But if you don't need it, don't pay for it. Keep it simple. Because remember, most people are looking on these little small mobile devices. Don't try to look like your competition. That's what Facebook is. Don't go to a competitor's website and then say, oh, I'm going to create my site just like theirs. So when people are searching for something, and again, you only got 8 seconds, and they go to this site and people are visual. So they find this site, and they're like, oh, I like the. And then they find your site and they're like, wait a minute, that looks the same as that site. You're already not distinguishing yourself. And remember, make a good first impression with your website. Okay, now we're getting to the components, and we're doing good on time because I know I talk fast, a lot of information. So we're going to have a lot of time at the end to be able to answer questions. The components of a website. This is where I kind of get or have trouble with my clients because they don't understand the different things they have to pay for. A domain name. You have to have a domain name from a registrar company. We're going to talk about some of the different ones. That's your address, the www. A web server, that's where you host, your website is hosted on a server. And third is your content management system. That's the application you're using to write, to create your content. Okay, I'm going to explain it another way. Analogy of a cell phone. When you think about a cell phone, each cell phone has a specific number. You can't call my phone number and reach someone else. My number is distinct to me. Same thing with a domain name. You can only, every domain name only exists for one website. Back in the day, I remember when you went to a different cell phone provider, you couldn't keep your number, but you can keep your number now with a cell phone, and you should make sure that whatever website provider you're with, that you can keep your domain name. And we'll talk about that a little bit later too. Okay, you got your cell phone is similar to your web content. How many times have you had to get a new cell phone? This is, again, I'm dating myself, but back in the day when you would get a new cell phone, then you had to physically copy over all of your content, your pictures and your contacts and all that. Now they got it up in the cloud. Gotta love technology. So website content, very similar. You have your content on a server, okay? And if you switch providers, you should hopefully be able to move your content. And that's not always the case. And then finally, your hosting provider is similar to your cell phone service. You can give, which a lot of people are doing, a lot of grandparents or parents or whatever, they're giving their old phones to their kids, to toddlers, to just play with, because it still has apps on it, and so forth. But without the cell phone carrier, without paying for a service, no one can call that phone, but they can still play with it. So the same thing with the website. There's people that say, oh, I got a website, but if they're not paying a hosting provider, then it's not live. It's not active. Give me just a moment. I'm going to show this one. I'm going to open my door again. It's getting a little hot in here. All right. So, analogy of building a home. Would you ask an architect? This is the common question I get. How much is a website? How much is a website? Would you ask an architect how much it costs to build a home without first knowing what you want? You would have to know, what are your family needs? Do you want a home like your neighbor? Can you afford the land or materials? And every change increases the cost. So that's what you'll have to understand if you decide to work with a web designer. You just can't say, how much is the cost for a website? You got to think of it this way. Your website is your home. I don't know if I'm building a 2-story house, a mansion, or a she shed. I need to know. Your address is your web domain. Your land is the hosting. You got to pay for that. And then if you decide to work with a web designer, that's like an architect. Okay. Register your own domain name. I have run into so many situations with my personal clients that they come to me, they want me to do their website, and not just me, actually my full-time job too, where bigger companies, it's even worse for the bigger companies, that they want a new website, but of course they want to keep their domain name, but they don't own it. They registered it with some other company. It's not in their name, and it's a nightmare to try to get it. So with all of my clients, I register their domain, but I register under their name. You have access to the account. Go as you wish. There was actually one of my clients, I didn't even know that she took one of my classes, one of my workshops, and it was a do-it-yourself website. And I had her in my profile, And I was going to show someone, I was like, oh, this was one of my clients that did a do-it-yourself website. And I clicked on it and I was like, that's not the website she did. So she had already, decided to go with another company. It's really nice because it's much better than her do-it-yourself website. But she had the liberty to do that. I was not hand holding her, twisting her arm or holding her back that she could go with any other company she wanted because she had total access to her domain name. So back to domain names, you want to keep it short, easy to remember, make it meaningful, try to use your business name, avoid misspellings. Just because you want a certain website address, don't try to be creative with the way you spell it, because however you spell it, when you have the opportunity to be on the radio or to in a networking event or talking to someone, you don't want to be trying to say, when they say, oh, give us your website address, and you're like, oh, it's creative caring couples, but you spell the K with a K and you put a C and it's just no, make it simple. It's better to just have it simple instead of trying to make it too creative, because people are going to misspell stuff. So don't give them that option. Use a different extension if .com is not available. It's so open. There's so many extensions now. There's .net, .biz, .online, .video, .this, .that. So it's better to follow all of these rules and use a different extension than to try to be too creative. And you can register as many domain names as you want, and still point it to one website. Again, this example is the best, well, not the best, but I like it. It was my business. Atlanta, that gave the location. Wedding was the type of business, and ideas. That site was totally based on getting wedding ideas, and it was located in Atlanta. So again, that was my website address, but that was not necessarily my business name. That was not my LL. Well, actually, it was my LLC back then. But that gives an example of how you can be very specific with your domain name, and you can have multiple. I've registered my Arba LLC. Not LLC, my Arba. That's right. See, I registered myarba.com, but I didn't have it myarballc.com. I really wanted arba.com, but need I say again that the Rabbit Breeders Association got to that before me. Anyway, point your domain. If right now, if all you have is a Facebook page or LinkedIn page or whatever you have, register a domain name now and point it to something that you already have exist. You don't, a domain name doesn't have to only go to a website. It can go to anything else on the internet, but that helps to have the longevity or the history of your domain name. Okay, website hosting. A host provider stores your website content on the internet for people to access all over the world. So again, website hosting is like the cell phone carrier. You have to pay this in order for people to get access to your website. It has to be hosted. That's a non-avoidable cost, either monthly or annually or however, but it's an ongoing fee. Popular host providers, that's a whole page of them, and there's more, and there's more that exist. But how do you choose one that is the best for you? You decide what features you need and are willing to pay for. These are the things that are most important. You gotta look at the cost, the uptime. Uptime means that there's a lot of these little small host provider companies, but they don't really have a good history. And what that means is that if you go with them, because they cost $1, they cost $1 a month, I'm going with them. But then every time you go to your website, it says, oh, error, sorry, website cannot be found. That means that they don't have a good uptime. You know, again, reputation, bandwidth, support. And if you're planning on selling online, you want to make sure that it's secure for e-commerce. That's really what's most important when you're choosing a host provider. And then finally, if you're going to do your own website, then you want to make sure, try to go with all-in-one. Go with a company that offers the domain registration, hosting, and content management all in one. That's the best for the do-it-yourselfer. What is a content management system? CMS allows you to create and manage your website content without technical training. When I say that I do website workshops, and sometimes you get those real technical people like, oh, you teach us coding. I'm like, why? Why would you need to learn coding when there's so many platforms out there that will allow you to design websites without the need of code? And I don't recommend it because it's just not as efficient. The only reason you would need to know coding is if you're trying to create a website of the magnitude of M&T Bank, or some huge organization that you need all of this other technology. But for the average small business, just use a simple content management system, no coding. Something that has a nice control panel, some built-in templates, an editor, form creator, blog if you decide to do it, some statistics, and e-commerce. Now, WordPress. Everybody talks about WordPress. The only reason WordPress is so popular is because, again, it started as this free blogging site. But now it's a platform. It's free, but remember the technology. WordPress is free, but you still have to pay that host provider. You have to pay a provider to host, that's hosting the actual platform. It's an open platform, and the reason it's so popular is because there's all of these other developers out there that are making all these different plugins for it. It's really an advanced platform. I don't care who tells you that, oh, WordPress is easy. WordPress is easy. WordPress is easy if you've used it. But if you're new to web design, I don't recommend WordPress. And I also, I used to have a couple of customers that I created and updated their sites, but it's a monster because there's constantly updates because it's this open platform. You've got all these different developers and all these plugins. It's just not worth it for the small entrepreneur. Then you've got standalone software. And again, there's all of these other companies, but this is really for the advanced web developer. Okay, here's the list. Functionality. You need to assess your needs versus your wants. I'm not going to go through all of this. The main thing is when you're looking for a web host company, or even if you're going to work with a web designer, then they're going to tell you, oh, it's got this, it's got that, it's got all of this stuff built into it. But if you don't need it, don't pay for it. Kind of like, what is that? Liberty Mutual. Only pay for what you need. You didn't know I could do, I'm just crazy. All right, anyway, good CMS platform, a good content management platform, easy to use, easy to upgrade, has a global design, many widgets. Maybe you can do a little HTML and CSS. This is coding technology, if you're trying to really do something a little special, or maybe if you're trying to put some content on there that's from some other app or something. You want it to have an error page. So in case a page cannot be found, you want it to say, sorry, that page cannot be found, and guide the visitor back to your homepage. And then some support. Again, you can get some very cheap platforms, but they're out of the country. They're in a different time zone, different language. Is that really worth it? Okay, now we're down almost to the end here. Website costs. How much is it going to cost me? I'm going to talk about the three: do it yourself, professional web designer, and a web company. I can specifically talk about all of these because I fit in all of these. Again, my full-time job, I used to be a web designer for the company that I'm with, but I transitioned because I already do that as a freelancer. So I wanted to learn more about social media. So now I'm a social media strategist. So, and of course, I'm a professional web designer, and I teach do it yourself. So let's start with the biggest. As a web design company, with a web design company, there's a team of people working on every phase of your website development. The cost is usually over $1,000, but it's worth it, because with that, you're not just getting a website. You're getting a project manager, the web designer, then the copywriter. Remember, I talked about these people that have liberal arts degrees. They can write all this great content for you. Then your developer is the one that's going to take the actual design, which is the look of the site, the content from the copywriter, and then put it all together and make that website work. Then you've got quality control, which is a whole nother team that's going to go through that whole website, make sure that everything is functional, make sure that the copy's in the right place, does everything make sense? And then internet marketing. This is the group that SEO for your search engine optimization, your Google ads, Facebook ads, email marketing, all of that. So if you want to build your business to the level to compete, excuse me, with most other big companies, you would need to have a website of that magnitude. A good example would be like let's give me just a minute. A good example is a roofing company. Now, many times you can have someone that says that they want to start their own roofing business, but that is a competitive market. And to be able to get a lot of the visibility that a lot of these other roofing companies have, roofing, plumbing, there's a lot of those industries that you would really need to have a website of this magnitude. Okay, professional web designer. That's like, well, I'm all of these, but this is me. The average cost is like 300 or more. A web designer should understand web design basics, implement website fundamentals. They should be experienced, and they should show you their portfolio. Some of them may have industry specialty. I actually did a presentation for a photography event, a photography expo. And so all of those, everyone there were photographers, and there were other people there that they totally specialize in photography websites. With a web designer, you can have a personal relationship. All of my clients, they call me, text me, email me, and they know my turnaround, which fast turnaround. And I train. So I can create the website and then train you on how to maintain it. Then finally, there's the do-it-yourself. I love do-it-yourselfers. I started off as a do-it-yourselfer, and I teach do-it-yourself. There's many providers offer easy-to-use tools to build your own website. The search around, compare functionality. Remember, I told you don't just only pay for what you need. Features, support, and price. These are some of the things you need to look at. So the cost of a do-it-yourself website, about $10 or more to register your domain name, $5 or more per month, or you can pay annual. A lot of them will offer, you could pay annual for a discount. About $5 or more for the platform that you're actually designing it on. Throw in some money, $5. This is not necessarily a subscription or a monthly fee, but for some stock images or an editor. And then if you want to accept online payments, which I'm going to talk about later, online payments does not necessarily mean that you have an e-commerce site. They're two different things, and I'll talk about them. And then your e-commerce site. So you can build and maintain your own website for less than $100 a year. But you got to look at time or money. Do it yourself, start around $100, doesn't cost you anything for changes. You have your choice of functionality. You must know SEO to create good content and to get found. You pay a monthly hosting fee. It must renew your domain, means you need to remember to renew your own domain if you're doing it yourself. There has been times where customers have lost their domain name if they're not working with a web designer or a company, just because they simply forgot to renew their domain name. But you are in control. With a web designer or company, start around $250. Changes could be $50 an hour and up. You're going to be limited by the platform that the web designer or company uses. Web designers and companies are SEO friendly with their to help with the content development, but this is the same. You still got to pay a monthly hosting fee. With a web designer or company, they own and renew your domain. Now, when I say own, that just means I have access to renew the domain, but you own it. But you have to be careful. I can speak for myself, but not all web designers. Some web designers own your domain, and they own everything. So. Okay. Pros and cons. Do it yourself, easy, inexpensive, and fast. You control everything. The con, less functionality. Usually you're kind of restricted to a template design, limited support, and no accountability. And that's important, because that's why there's so many people that are saying, oh, I started my website, or it's under construction, or it's coming soon, because there's no accountability. You're not paying anybody, it's yourself, and you'll find every excuse to not get it done. With a web designer, the pros, they can create your website and train you to maintain it. The cons is they may not include ongoing support or maintenance. MIA. I've gotten a lot of customers because they cannot find their web designer, can't reach them. They're not doing websites anymore, or whatever. And you have less control over changes and hosting. And finally, with a web company, you have much more support and options to promote and track your website, and a lot more business services. But the cons, you have less control over changes and the hosting. There's not really any personal rapport, and you could be locked into a contract. Okay, a little bit about e-commerce basics. Whether you are selling products or not, you should offer online payments. I have online payments for any of my consulting services, for people to pay for their websites, anything. You don't want to miss any opportunity. Customers crave convenience, keep up with the competition, take advantage of quick and spontaneous sales, and people shop online any time of the day and night. But are you ready for e-commerce? These are the things to consider. There's a lot to consider. E-commerce means that you're actually selling products, not talking about just taking payments, but selling products. What are you going to sell? What payment processing are you going to use? Do you have a resale license? Are you going to collect tax? Are you collecting tax means, because if you're selling outside of your state, you can only collect tax. I mean, I'm not an accountant, but you can only collect tax if you're shipping in the state that you have your resale license tax or something like that. Inventorying of products, drop shipping, insurance, there's all of these things to think about for e-commerce. And of course, I have resources on my website. Payment options, which is different than full e-commerce. you can create and embed payment links and buttons on any website. I use Square and PayPal. Originally, I only used PayPal, but I'm finding Square to be a lot more convenient and easy to use. You can put a generic link or a button, a specific button, or specific buttons with options on your. So I recommend if you maybe have 20 or less products, just start off with using the Square or PayPal buttons, because e-commerce websites, the monthly hosting fee is higher. So before you get into paying a higher monthly hosting fee, just start off with just putting some buttons on your website. Oh, I keep getting ahead of myself. Payment links versus e-commerce websites. If the main purpose of your website is to sell products online, you need e-commerce. You need an e-commerce website because that just has the built-in shopping cart, search and sorting features, multiple payment processing. You just really, you don't want a nightmare of trying to do what's necessary for a full e-commerce site with payment links and buttons. Trust me, I've done it. And then this is a grid comparison of some of the solutions out there. These are the two that I use. This grid is showing, here's on the left side is less expensive. This is more expensive. The bottom half is less features. So Constant Contact and Duda are the two that I use. They are less expensive, but they have more features than just doing, Square or PayPal or Facebook. Facebook even has the ability to sell products. All right. Here's my last little quiz to see how sharp we are. And then we're going to open it up for questions. So putting it all together, start with your marketing plan. What do you think is next? Now that you can't cheat, what do you think is next? Anybody out there, type in after your marketing plan, when you're thinking about putting together your website, give me a guess on what would be next after your marketing plan. Anybody out there still? Logo, let's see. Okay, logo. No, you can't. Website's not the answer because the whole thing is about website. But wait a minute, we got some good answers here. The next, target customer. Robin's the winner on that. You got to know when you're getting ready to start your website, you clearly, after your marketing plan, which should be a part of your marketing plan, you need to know who's your target customer. Your existing and your new. Okay. So then after your target customer, I think we had someone that got your contact info. This may sound funny, but I had a customer that I was doing their website. And you know what? This happened to me and it happened for my day job, that putting together their website. And we put the phone number on there. They're like, oh no, I don't want that phone number. I want to use a different phone number. And we're like, well, what phone number do you want to use? Oh, I haven't registered it yet. I haven't, so they didn't even know that, they didn't even think about where they're going to use their cell phone, their personal phone. I've had this happen to me quite a bit. They want it, then that's when they're thinking, oh, I need a different email address. So think about all of that stuff before you start working on your website. Any guesses as to what's next? After you figured out your target customer, your contact info. I take any guesses. I just like something, so I know you're out there. Actually, I think somebody let's see, brand design. Well, your content can be part of your content. Your content is all of that. So those are good answers with Nancy, and someone said it earlier with your products and services. All of that is your content. So it goes into what text, what images, the video, all of that content to help with your SEO. I'm going to start to show the rest because you're getting, actually nobody said that one. So see, you don't get your domain. A lot of times people jump the gun and they get a domain. But you should have all of this stuff. Actually, all of this stuff before you even get your domain. This you should know as part of your business in general. So, before, and the reason I say you should know all of this before you get your domain is because your domain is part of the company who you're going to work with, because you may be able to get them together, your domain and your hosting. It would be great if you could get them together. Then you get into the design. And this is what happens is I learned the hard way from when I first started doing the website workshops is I did not teach this workshop, prepare, because I had people that would come to a 5-week website workshop. And at the end of 5 weeks, they still didn't have a website because the fundamental groundwork wasn't done. Because before you sit down and pay for any type of CMS or hosting, start choosing templates, colors, all of that, you should know your content. You should already have all that other information before you start the design. Then you can look at the advanced functionality, whether you want to add a blog and e-commerce. And then finally, your updates. How are you going to track the success of your site and your SEO, how you're doing with SEO? So in summary, you can build your own basic website. Start with a good business and marketing plan. It's up to you to create the content. Online templates and tools make it easy to have a good design. Pay for only what you need with Liberty Mutual. Promote your website and track your results. Resources. I talked about resources. These are some of the resources. Answer questions before starting your website. That's a little document that I have. Watch, build your website. That's a video. Read how to create effective web content. Follow the website checklist. Complete the website worksheet and sketch your website page layouts. These are all things I've learned in marketing. Use all these different action words, the call to action: answer, watch, read, follow, complete. So if you subscribe to my mailing list to access these resources, they're password protected. And you just go to DIYmarketing.biz resources and subscribe, and you'll get the password to those resources. Oh, BKB. So finally, I'll leave up this slide of the questions and contact. Subscribe to my mailing list to access the resources and recording. You can book a consultation, schedule online training, and I also offer a starter website for $100. So now I'm going to unmute or ask everyone to unmute. And also you can come on screen and we got almost a half hour to ask questions. Somebody's got a little feedback there going. Okay, I am ready for questions.
I got one.
Sure.
So
Nancy, wait a minute, Nancy, how you got any questions? You knew all the answers.
yeah, I didn't know all the answers.
Well, first tell me what kind of business do you have? How long you been in business?
Oh, so I don't have a business yet. I actually I'm actually a librarian at the library with Sam.
Oh.
I do think about a business, and I think about it a lot. But today I'm looking at this to help our patrons.
Okay.
They ask me questions, but I'm also storing this in the back of my head because I do have some business ideas I'll be pursuing, hopefully sooner than later. So when you talked about the website extensions, like .com and .biz and all of those, if you have like a unique web address, do you want to grab onto those other extensions so somebody else doesn't get it and like pretend they're you? Or
Well, I mean, there's a couple of school of thoughts on that. I have a client that definitely that's what he does. And I mean, it does me well because, you know, as I said, because I'm a reseller, I'm a certified reseller of domain names and hosting and all of that stuff. So I get a small commission every time one of my clients registers a domain. So every time he registers a domain, he gets .com, .net, .org. Okay, that's his thought. My rule of thought on that is that I mean, I don't do it. I don't grab up every extension. You can't. For one thing, you can't, because there are so many extensions out there. You'd go broke trying to get every single extension. So I just think you know, start with the .com because that's what's most familiar. Your home page should clearly indicate to someone if you gave someone your business card, or if you verbally told them go to your website and they went to something and it did not look anything remotely like your site, then they're gonna go back and say, oh, it's dot da da da.
okay. And one other question, if I may, what about when you talked about logos and things of that nature? What about you know, doing like a copyright on that and that sort of thing?
If you're creating a if you are paying someone to create your logo and you're really using intellectual property, that's what they call it, because creative property, and it's something that number one, I don't believe in paying for that until you're much further along in your business, you know, because things change, you know, then yes, you could get it copyrighted or registered or whichever. And then sometimes if you're working with a graphic designer, they may already have connections or ability to do that. But if you're just creating a logo, like my logo has excuse me, I just created it using just regular icons. No, I'm not going to pay to register that. So I don't think I don't have a hard fast rule against it. I'm really, you will find I am the DIY person and the entrepreneur. You know, I started my business years ago, mother, wife, family. So I'm not paying a whole lot of money for a whole lot of stuff, if not necessary. Okay. Next.
I have a question, Arba.
Okay.
First of all, let me say thank you for doing this. It has really been a great amount of information that I have not known. And I intend on contacting you and using your resources and maybe getting with you personally because I think you're awesome.
Thank you. My pleasure. As you can tell, I mean, I love doing this.
I have a business. It's called Yahweh's Princess. It started off as I was making T-shirts and headbands with rhinestones, and then I connected a scripture verse to it.
Mm-hmm.
And lately, things have evolved, and that's why I've been in business since 2012, because a lot of things have happened, and I've done some craft shows and things like that. But it seems like my business is evolving, so now I'm making jewelry.
Stop on that note just a second. That's why I tell, you know, when you're starting off in business, don't spend a whole lot on stuff because you see yours is a perfect example. You've evolved. Okay, go ahead.
So I have a little bit of inventory. My question is, how much inventory should you have when you want to start a website? Because right now I don't have a whole bunch, and I just want to know what would be like a baseline amount to hit if you're going to do and I do want to do a website. How much inventory would I need to be successful?
Yeah, I definitely. I had a couple of clients similar to that. What you want to do is you just want to show a simple example of what you would call your base, middle, high, like low, medium, high, or however you want to say that. Because what you want to do is create something and do a picture that says, this is an example of my $30, my $30 to $50 price range, or whatever your range is, right? This is an example of what that range is. It includes jewelry, right? You're talking about jewelry, right? Yeah, it includes such a many jewels, da da da. You want to say what this price range includes. Then you do a middle one and you do an example of that one. This is what's included in this type of jewelry, and you do the high end. So that way you really only need those 3 examples. And then make sure whenever you do any orders, take pictures. You take pictures, and then that's how you slowly build so you don't need to have inventory. I'm a person, I don't believe in inventory, especially because when you have an online business, they don't need to know how much inventory you have. They just need to know, because I believe no matter how much inventory you have, if you had a dress shop, no matter how much inventory you have, somebody gonna want it in a different size and a different color. So you just say what the price range is and what it includes.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Anyone else? See, I told you I cover a lot. That's why I said nobody needs to ask questions during, because I'm gonna cover everything and then some.
You talk about the marketing plan being the focus, correct?
Say that again. I think maybe Robin, could you mute for a second? I'm hearing some feedback. I don't know if it's me or, yeah, it was Robin. Okay, thank you. Okay, go ahead, Sandra.
Explain again why the marketing is so key. And the reason I ask that is because we see a lot of our potential, small business people, and this is the one thing they're not coming to us with. It's all these other ideas, what have you. So what is it about the marketing plan that we need to be telling them that this is where your core of where you need to be starting, especially as it relates to a web page?
Right. Let me see if I can trying to see if I can slideshow. Let me go back here. Are you seeing? Oh wait, I guess I can't do it that way. I was trying to go to it to go back to that slide for a second to show it, but I guess it looks like I'll have to go backwards. Oh, give me just a second, because I want to show it, and then that'll make sense to. Oh, there we go. All right. Okay, it's just not gonna work for me. Because what are you seeing now? Just a black screen?
Yeah, we did. It's the end. It says in slide show.
Yeah.
Click to exit.
Yeah.
Well, can you exit? Will it show your different slides in your PowerPoint?
Yeah, maybe I'll hold on, do it that way. Wait a minute. Okay, now you just see my blank screen, right?
I see you. It's just this big picture of you.
Oh, screen sharing has stopped. Okay, that's probably what I needed to do to get it working again. Because these questions that that need to be answered, which is why it okay, so now I'm a screen share again. That's the trickery with okay, let me get this slide up and then screen share it. Okay, now do you see it?
I see it.
Okay, so so starting with the business plan. So your question was, what do you say to them when they don't have a written business plan? Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Why is it? it's trying to get them to understand why is this so important. I see why it's important because you're going to use this information, in all of your, like in your content and your website.
In
Well,
everything. Because if they haven't flushed it out, if it's not clear to them, then it's not going to be clear to anyone else. That's really what the bottom line. It's got to be
bottom line.
clear. It's got to be clear to them. So there's that one of, and this, because this is what, because if they can't answer these questions, why are you in business? Have you identified your ideal customer? And how are you different from your competition? Okay. If they can't answer those 3 questions, they're in trouble. It has nothing to do with a website. There's nothing to do with a website if they can't answer that. And then there was another one. Wait a minute, let me find my other one of being able to. So first they got to be able to answer that. And then the one where I was saying the answer to a solution. I gotta find my own ones. They need to be their business needs to be in response to a want or a need.
Right.
Those 2 are okay. Yeah, here it is. See, this is where I can't. Okay, I see how this thing doesn't want to if I want to move to another slide, like, even though, okay, I could see it on my thing, I can't get to it unless I go through it the long way.
See, if you had it the way you originally had it in the beginning.
True. I think I may, you know what? I think I'm gonna give in to you and do it like that. You're saying like that? Yeah. Oh, screen sharing. Oh, wait, it stopped. Okay. Yeah. That's hilarious though, that I had it like that. Well, I tell you, it just took away my whole effect of trying to get you guys to be interactive. Okay. So you can see that now, right?
Identify your ideal customer.
Yeah. So again, why they need a marketing plan is because see, okay, you get a lot of those people that, oh, I got something for everybody. You ask them, who are you targeting? Everybody. No, you can't have a solution for everyone. So they got to be able to answer the questions that I had on that previous slide. And then what want or need are you solving and for who? And, why is your business the best choice? These questions are really the same questions or the same things that right here. Why are you in business? Have you identified your ideal customer? How are you different from your competition? Is the same as what the other was asking. And so if they can't answer that, then that's why they need to have a business plan. And one of the resources, have you heard about the one page business plan?
I've read some authors who have written. Horan, who was a speaker on SCORE, he did a book on the one page. And there's another author that I've just read with the one page business.
Because that could be something that we could do as a workshop as well.
Yeah.
Because I think that's really the biggest thing, is that a lot of people are just like, oh, because they're thinking this 20 page, 30 page, kind of thing. And they're just not really ready to commit to that. But I can say personally that I am so glad, like this whole DIY marketing originally was a 34-page business plan that I did, and I even went to M&T with it, and I was going to get funding for it, but you got to have skin in the game kind of thing, because I wanted a training center. Is what I wanted, because I felt I had enough material that if I had a little like entrepreneurs training center, which meant that I would have had to purchase, there's this building that was close to the house. But anyway, I was going to purchase this. I had the great business plan. I flushed out all of this stuff. The bank was going to give me money, but it was based on, you know, we had to put some money in it, which meant my husband's 401k. It was easier to convince the bank than it was my husband. So, but thank God that he didn't, because what I learned from that, by doing that whole business plan, I put it on a shelf. But then when the opportunity came up with Delavan Grider, that's how that happened. And I had that whole business plan that I had already fleshed out. And I said, boom, I've got this. And they had the training center for me to do it, which is also how I can easily do all of these trainings, you know, for SCORE, whether it be for the library or whatever, because I already have all of that. I flushed that out. And you know, and so there's a purpose for the traditional business plan, but I also, then I've taken some other concepts and ideas and have used that one-page business plan, and it does help to quickly flush out the things you need.
The other question I have is there are various kinds of business models. And I use that word business model, you know, lightly. For example, I find people are entering into the business world via different systems. For example, you know, there might be somebody their big thing is to vendor. They have a product, but they're vendoring, or they have a product, it's a side hustle. Is this applicable to them as well?
Is what applicable?
Having a website, even though, you know, they may be a vendor, you know.
Most definitely. Most definitely. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to festivals, pop-ups, you know, or whatever. And, you know, and you know what? They need it even more so.
More so. That's what I thought too. Yeah.
They need it even more so because, you know, and then you're wearing some nice, you know, some nice jewelry piece or something. And then the first thing, somebody, oh, where did you get that? That, you know, that's for Robin, you know, where did you get that? Oh, that's so nice. Oh, I got it from this festival. I got it this festival. I got it, but and that's all you can say, because you can't say they got a website, you know, you can't, they can't give you a business card, you know. So yes, even more so the small entrepreneur, small business person, they need a website, you know, even more so than the big companies, because you know, yes, there are people that may buy their stuff from may go online, may get their stuff from Walmart online, but there's a lot more that just go into the store, you know. Right. So, but if you don't have a store, then that's all you got is your website.
Yes, yeah, that's good to know, because I think they feel that they don't need it. And I have run into that too, where I've seen something that somebody, I need to know where you're going to be at. Okay. If you don't have a store, if you know, where can I access you? You know, where you're going to be in, you know, this month. Are you vendoring here? Are you vendoring there? And I think the website is more responsive.
Yes.
For that.
Yes.
Because you can update that, you can put rain dates, you know, it's all those kinds of things that you can put in there.
All of that. This is really the bottom line of what it is that they'll say there's absolutely no validity to anyone saying they don't need a website. But these are all the underlying excuses, you know, that it is that's behind that. You ever heard that, like, peel back the onion, try to really get to what the core is? And really what it is that they're not prepared. And they're frightened, and I can understand. Most people are just like, oh, you know, they don't know where to begin or what's needed, and that's why this information that's the purpose of it, is to really say, yes, there's a lot to it, but that doesn't mean you can't do it.
Well, I think one of the things that I'm seeing is the writing component of the business plan and marketing plan. There's a challenge there in terms of writing content. if you're not used to doing that, it can seem very overwhelming.
Only if you're trying to write content based on Fortune 500 website. But content needs to be, you know, as I was saying, if you were talking to someone, if you were saying, if let me show you, since I don't know, but I don't think it'll show on this is, I finally came up with excuse me, and a lot of the worksheets that I have and everything answers those simple questions. Let's see, because I can't see. So can you see can you see something I'm saying about get online?
No, you have
Okay.
the excuses for not having a website.
Okay, yeah, because I have to stop. I have to
You have
stop
to stop
sharing.
sharing. Mhm.
Oh, you know what I forgot to put up? This my poll. Who did we lose? We just lost one person though, right?
Nancy, because she's here at the library. She has to go to her next site.
Okay. Can you all see this poll?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay. So I got a couple of people, but then I have the person on the phone. I'm not sure who's on the phone. But so I put up a poll. What have you decided after this training? So if you all could do the poll, I'd appreciate it for the few people that are on there. And the person's on the phone, it just says, what have you decided after this training? I'm going to do nothing. I'll try to design my own website. I will find a web designer to do my website. I will work with a web design company, or I'm interested in a website workshop. Since we only have 2 people. Okay, so I think we got it. So I'm going to end the polling. And so a lot of this too is just I'm showing you how you can share. Now, can you see the results?
Yes, we can.
Okay, cool. Because yeah, so that's how this works. Because I know you were wanting to.
Well,
learn.
I'm seeing that a lot of people are interested in a website workshop.
A lot of people, yeah, the 2 people.
And so just so folk know, it's September 30th. I know that's a while from now, but we're going to here at the library offer from 4:30 to 6:30. We're going to ask Arbor to come back, but it's going to be in-house, and we think that's really important.
Right.
That the information virtually is good to have, and I hope people will go and get any of the resource information from Arbor. But there's something, because I've been in her classes, her website class, there's something very different that happens when it's in-house.
Oh yeah.
Okay. When you're actually trying to work with this information on a website. So September 30th from 4:30 to 6:30 at the Central Library downtown, and we'll be sending you information as we get closer to that. But I would, strongly recommend, if you're at the point where you're ready to start to do that, whether it's on your own or contacting Arbor, that you start that process, because it is a process.
Yeah.
It really is. It doesn't have to be a hard process. I think one of the things that I've been learning from Arbor is that if you do the things that she's asking you to do sort of in order, even it doesn't have to be perfect. Just start to get it down and just try. You'll see, once you get a product and you see what it is, you're able to update it or change it and do those things. But we don't need to look for perfection.
Right. This is, I created this very simple form with really, there's just these, I'm like, if you could just answer these 4 questions, really only 3 questions, then I could do a website. When and why did you start your business? What products or services do you provide? And what is the purpose of your website? Then what other information do you want to include? I've narrowed it down to that. that I've been able to create, what I call a starter website, just if they're able to answer that. The rest of this information up here is like, the normal contact information that, that would be needed. So. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've come to, it's
Yes.
3:00. So, Arba, I can't thank you enough for the hard work and all this information, this fabulous information you've given us. If you could in the chat just put again how we could contact you for the resources that you were talking about,
Definitely.
that would be
Definitely.
helpful.
Yeah.
Because I know folk are gonna, be asking me, what was the site? What was how do we get that?
Yes.
That
Let's
is
put
great
that.
information, that will help guide you.
Yes.
And it's
Yes.
great to know that, to be honest with you, that you have a resource of a person that you can talk to. And know that you can get some honest information. And that's one of the things, that's one of the reasons I had Arbor come, is because you really want to talk to someone who's going to be upfront, honest, and give you good information. So
Yeah, and know the struggles of the entrepreneur.
yes, and that's very different. So there it is. Again, I thank the folk that came,
Yeah.
and we appreciate it. We will hopefully see you
And there'll be
September
more.
30th. But like I said, do not wait. Contact Arba if you have questions beforehand, or you can give us a call at the library. I need to put my email on there in the event that you have any questions. Courtney S.
Yeah, and all this time, you're not on screen. I don't know if you
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. You'll
Oh.
have to see me. So let me let folk go. We want to honor the
Oh, yeah.
time, and Arbor, I will give you a call afterwards. Go take a
Okay.
break. You've
My
talked for a
pleasure.
long time, but I will call you back. Thank you,
Okay.
guys. Thank you for coming.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.